Okay, so another classic balance, tree pose. As always, when you're balancing, you are more than welcome to make sure that you're near a chair or make sure that you're near a wall, especially if you're pregnant. I found balancing goes one way or the other. I find my balance to get much better when I'm pregnant. Some people find it the total opposite, super wobbly, really hard, kind of controlling the abdomen, obviously, because there's a lot going on there. And for some of us, balance is tricky, and for some of us, balance is tricky every day, every other day, right? Balance kind of comes and goes. What I'm trying to give you is the tools to set up the anatomy so you can always find that balance, even if it's a really tricky day. Perfect. So just like our one-legged Tadasana that we did before, one-legged mountain pose, we are going to start with either feet hip width or feet touching. And again, feet hip width might feel better with baby, but it will cause you to shift before you lift. So you really have to control those hips and not let them go with you, but you can always just start with your feet touching. It might be simpler with the feet touching, but if you feel like that doesn't make sense with a pregnant belly and hips, you're going to step wider. I am going to go to that hip width distance. I like the sensation of the shift. It allows me to kind of put everything where it belongs. Good. So first things first, tree pose, classically hands start at heart center, so they can start there, or you can just leave them by your side while you're figuring things out. As always, when we're balancing, I need wide toes, wide and soft. Shift the weight around front and back. Notice if you're in your heels, that's where we tend to be. Take the weight forward towards the toes, but the toes aren't clenching. The toes are spread. You're going to push your feet down while you lift your kneecaps up, not back, up. So feet are going down, kneecaps are going up. So already I'm so light, I could lift up off of my heels at any time. That's where you want to be. What's going to help you feel lighter is dragging your hip bones up towards your ribs. So now when I lift, there's this constant up and down motion. So as my head floats up, my feet feel like they're boring holes into the ground. That's your key to balance and living and staying there, that you're equal and opposite reaction, right? Gravity is pushing you down, so you're going to press through the ground to get up. So you have to push down to lift up. It's not like a jump, right? Well, even with a jump, you push to lift up, but this we're constantly pushing down to lift up. Great. Shift over to the right. Notice if the hip went, mine certainly just did, and press right back into the ground. So that right leg is stronger than the left right now. Left is softer. Even if your feet are touching, it's a slight shift over, right? Not nearly as big. So shift. Move your hands up to heart center, pull hip bones up, ribs down. Left foot, we're gonna start simply, you're gonna turn it out, so let the left knee open, and then just drag the left toes towards the right ankle. So the toes are gonna stay on the ground for stability. It's really easy to sink here. That's what happens a lot in tree pose. You can stay here for eternity, sure, but you're not really balancing, right? You're putting a ton of pressure on the outside of the hip, belly isn't engaged, and you're way backwards. This is what that looks like sideways, right? I'm way behind myself, tons of pressure in the low back, butt bones are pointing back, and I'm all the way over in my right hip. We want to rectify that by pushing down and lifting up, dragging the hip bones up, and then transferring the torso forward. So my head, my entire sternum, and my entire spine are stacked, right? Don't have this big arch, we're moving. There's always a soft curve in the low back, but again, I want to push into the earth to lift up. Hands come to heart center, and with those left toes either on the ground or just grazing the ground, you're balancing, right? So maybe the toes are offering you stability like a tripod. That works really well. Keep pulling that belly in. Or maybe you lift them all the way up on the ankle. That works too. Settle that left foot down. Let's move over to the left, lift up, right? Don't settle, lift up, turn out the right knee, and then draw the right foot to the ankle. Good. It's again easy to be backwards. So imagine someone's hands on the back of your head, sending it forward and up, grabbing your skull, moving it forward and lifting up. Chin is parallel to the ground, ribs in, hip bones up, and I want you to press your palms together. Just get used to that. Not letting them relax, but using them, push them. Move your heart towards your thumbs and your shoulders go down. Perfect. Now you're balancing. Step down, release your arms. That's tree. You should really feel it burning on the outsides of the hips. They're working quite a bit. Next step for tree, once that balance makes sense, is we're going to move up to the calf muscle. So the one thing that happens with tree is we always want to put our foot in our inside of the knee, and I'm telling you, you never want to do that, right? In our attempt to get our leg higher and higher, we turn it into something like this. It is either all the way on the ankle, all the way on the calf, or all the way, all the way up to the inner thigh, right? Nothing is touching the knee. I know it's a natural place that feels, whoa, kind of good, but it's going to press, right? Which not only to make the hip go sideways, but one thing that should never happen in your body ever is that your knees should bend sideways. They don't bend sideways. We never want them to bend sideways, right? They bend forward. We're not birds. They don't bend backwards. Just like you would never take anything and shove your knee backwards, you don't want to shove your knee sideways as well. It makes it very unstable. We do not want any sort of meniscus surgery. So nothing on the knee sideways ever, ever, ever. Perfect. So we're going to work our way up to the calf. This might be a great time to grab a chair or walk yourself over towards the wall. Hands are going to start at heart center. You're going to do that slight shift to the right. You're going to push down and lift up, seal the ribs, draw baby and hip bones up. Left knee is going to turn out, and then you're just going to slide the left foot towards your right calf muscle. Push to lift up, push to lift up. Perfect. So once you're here, what you're thinking, instead of just dangling that left foot, I want you to actively take the left foot and press it towards the right. Harder to figure out is send the right leg towards the left. So you have this whoosh action of zipping yourself up and pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Good. Step down, shift it over. Left foot stands, you lift everything up, turn out the right leg, right foot, left calf muscle, and then press. Press, right? It's more of a mind over matter. You might get some physical sensation, but I really want you to press because we're going to use that as the leg goes higher. Lift everything up. Hands can stay at heart. If you're feeling fancier, maybe you're lifting them, right? If you're feeling fancier, maybe they're sideways. Maybe you have other variations you like to play with that you want to try. Really, anything can go. Once the legs are stable, the upper body can really do anything you want to make any shapes. Woo, right? It's yours to play with and have fun with, but you're pushing and lifting, pushing and lifting, pushing and lifting, and then arms go where you need them to. Step down, give that a shake. Last step here would be leg all the way up to the inner thigh. So for some of us, this comes naturally. For some of us, this doesn't. If your balance is feeling really wobbly, let it go. It doesn't matter. This is a great time to grab a chair or be by the wall for sure, so you can see where it is available to you. You will most likely need a hand to help you get that leg up to your inner thigh. Some of us have really open turnout and can do it naturally. I cannot. I'm not one of those people. So I'll show you how I do it. We start strong. Weight is forward, hip bones up, belly active. You're going to shift over. Good. I'm going to start with my hands down because I know I'm going to need my left hand. I'm going to send my left knee up first. I'm going to open it wide. Then I'm going to reach down and grab my left ankle, pull it up, and place my left foot on my right inner thigh. What we love to do is this, right? We're kind of arching and swaying. I'm going to pull my hip bones up, draw my hip in, and again, I'm pushing left foot to the right leg to the left foot to the right leg to the left. I'm pressing down and lifting up. Arms can go anywhere you want them to. Release and step down. I'll show you that one sideways. So the transfer happens, everything gets strong. Left knee is gonna come up. I'm gonna turn it out. I'm gonna reach down and grab it, scoop it up, plant it on my inner thigh, and notice I just lost my torso and my pelvis rather totally. So I'm gonna push down and lift up, push down and lift up, push down and lift up. So while I'm centering my pelvis, I'm sending my right inner thigh towards the left, sending my head up, and then just allowing the leg to open. The knee opening wider, you never want to sacrifice the pelvis for it, right? That's extremely painful and totally unnecessary. How wide your knee goes doesn't matter, right? It's more of an illusion right now. It will open in time once you have that pressure and stance. Last chance. Whoo, shake it out, we'll even it out. Shift the weight over to the left foot, step into it, draw the right knee up. I want you to turn it out first. Find your stability. So I could live here for a year, right? I'm already stable. I'm not sinking and released. I'm pressing and lifting. Reach down to grab my ankle. I lift it up higher, plant it on my inner thigh. Push, press, and then push down and lift up. Push down and lift up. Closing the ribs. Arms can go any which direction you want. Gaze can even start to shift up or down, right? Because again, once the legs are doing their thing, you can go anywhere you want. So there's lots of fun stuff to play with. Where do the arms go and where are you looking? Looking forward, focusing forward, focus, focus, focus is a lot easier than taking the gaze up, down, or side to side, right? But that's all completely available to you if everything else is stacked. If you're pushing and pressing, if you're pushing and pressing, if you're drawing in, reaching and energizing out. Let's let that go. Shake it out. That's it. Tree pose, all your steps. Play around with it, but move slowly. Chairs are there, walls are there. Help yourselves out where you need. That's it. See ya.